Alright, welcome back to the second scripting tutorial. Today we're going to be learning about two things. One of them is going to be called printing, and then the other is going to be called variables. So, printing, you might have noticed if you've opened a script yet, like here, I'll open a new one to show you. If you take a script, and you open it up, this is going to be in it every time. This is what Roblox puts in the default script. It says print hello world. Well, what does this print hello world mean? So this is our output. Try to ignore all the red errors. Whoa! What's that? See, this hello world thing is the print command is pretty much sending this hello world into the output. So that might seem like kind of trivial to you. You might not understand what the point of that was. But if we were making a large script and we needed to know if something worked. Like, say, for example, if we had to choose a random value between 1 or 2, like if we were choosing a map, and we wanted to know which map the script chose, and we could say, if it is map 1, then print 1. If map 2, then print 2. So that way we'd be like, oh, it chose map 2. And so that could help us understand our script better. So printing right now, it won't serve you much good, but we can use it in a lot of ways. So, for example, I also wanted to before we get deeper into printing, I wanted to teach you calling a brick, or not just a brick, calling like an object. So, and this is the first line of script you're probably going to write. So, to call an object that already exists in our workspace, you have to always start from game. So we start from game, and it's giving me options right here. Don't really worry about them. And so say we wanted to get to test 1, because we want to do something with test 1. Okay, so we would go into our next section. Where do we have to go to get to test 1? Well, it's in the workspace. And game, just pretend game is like this whole thing. And so workspace is part of game. So we would go from game to workspace. You would type that. Make sure you have this period. This period shows kind of like a bridge between game and workspace. We're going to need another period bridge because test 1... We're going to need another period bridge because test 1 is within workspace, and so we would type test. Oh, and you see how it's showing us all of the things that are in there as we start typing it. So if you want, you can double click that right there, or you can just finish typing it. It'll just insert it for you. Now we have test 1. So pretty much we called this brick right here, and if we wanted to do something else with it, we could like change its name or change its color, all of that. But we can use this calling brick thing to, like, for a print command. Like, for example, if we wanted to know this brick's name, we would do print. Oh yeah, the print, because this is our print command. And when you're printing, you can pretty much print anything. You can put it in quotes, and you could be like print hey, and that'll come into the. Okay, ignore this. Ignore the red line for right now. It's saying it's wrong because of this up here. And it would print hey in the output and all that. But you can also print values. And for example, we could print, you're going to need parentheses here instead of those quotation marks. We could print 1. So as long as we put it in between these parentheses, it'll actually print 1 in our output. If we don't have these parentheses, it'll just break our script. We'll have no idea what we're doing. So we need the parentheses. But we can also use the parentheses if we want to find out a property of the brick. So, like, I'll show you what I mean. So we had game.workspace.test1 up there. So let's actually make a print command. Print. And then we're going to do our parentheses around this. And we're going to put dot name. Because we learned about property yesterday, and name's a property. It's actually a string value, so it'll appear the same way hey does. Alright, so now let's look at our output, and it'll actually show us all 3 of these print commands. See? Test 1, because that's the brick's name, so it printed that for us. And it also printed hey, and it printed 1. So those were all the 3 print commands we had here. Let me delete all this stuff. It's just kind of there. It's not really important right now. Alright, so that's printing. And so you can printing we won't really need until later, but variables we will, which is also what we're going to be covering today. So variables are just words I don't know why I typed that. Words that that represent a number, a string, or a block. For example, if my variable was brick, I could say game.workspace.test1. So now brick is actually set to this. So if we also did print brick.name, it would give me test1 again because we set brick to test1. So this is pretty much just an easier way of getting to test1. But variables don't have to be just bricks. They can be how many players, and then you could make it 1, and it could print how many players. And now you might think it might be easier to put 1 into that parentheses, but if we had this constantly changing, like if I also put down here how many players equals how many players plus 1, this would actually print 2 down here because the variable changed by the time it got to the print command. The way the script runs is it always runs down. It's always going to go this way. It's not going to set brick to this value. I mean, it's not going to print this until it sets brick to this value, so you don't ever have to worry about that. And so, but variables can be pretty much anything. They can also be player name. We could make a variable for my name there, and we could say print player name. Now let's watch as all 3 of our print commands are going to come up there. So there we go, test1, which is what the brick command actually was. 2, which stands for how many players, plus 1. It was 1, then we added 1 to it, so now it's 2, and Bluefrog53, which we told it to print. So variables just pretty much represent can represent strings, numbers, other things in the game. But there's also other things it can represent, but all those are kind of advanced, so we're not going to go over those right now. But variables are really useful for yeah, you're gonna use variables a lot if you start trying to make a game. Variables are probably going to be the most important part of your game because without them, you wouldn't be able to do anything. So I actually have a few homework questions. No, I deleted the script, didn't I? Let me rewrite those. Wait, no, they're up here. Okay, good. Here are the homework questions I want to give you. Okay, so print a brick's name. So just find a brick in your workspace, and I want you to make a print script for its name. Don't just put don't do this. Don't do that. I want you to actually do the game.workspace. And I want you set a variable to a brick, so that would be like yeah, what we did up there. I want to see if you guys can do this by yourself. I'll go over it eventually. And then create a number and a string value. So a number value and a string value. Alright, so pause the video now and try those out, and then resume it when you think you got it, and I'll go through them. Alright, first to print a brick's name. So this is what we would do. For us, let's print test4's name. We would go game, because we always start with game, then workspace, then we're going to go to test4. And always remember, if it's capitalized in the game, you have to capitalize it here, or else it won't. This scripting is very strict on capitalization. Test4. Oh, we need a print command, don't we? My bad. Print. Oops. We need those parentheses. And we're going to put .name, because the name of test4 is what we want to print. Alright, and if we played it, it would give us test4. I guess I'll just show you that. Test4, right there. Alright. And so, set a variable to a brick. So let's make our variable super cool brick. And let's set it to game.workspace.test3. So now we just set this to this. So if we ever type super cool brick again, it'll pretty much, the script will be like, oh, he's talking about this. And so that's helpful. create a number and a string value. This is super easy. So let's just say our number, so that's a variable, and let's just make it a big number. Let's also make a string value. So we can name it anything, like, I don't know, let's just call it string. It doesn't have to be called string, and we can call it, hello. Alright. And so those are two values. So that's the questions. And so, that was pretty much printing and variables. We also did a little bit of learning how to find objects in the workspace or pretty much anywhere in the game. Like, I'll go over one more thing. Like, say the script was in the lighting. We can go in the lighting too. Game.lighting.script. See how it came up? We can also go into the lighting. You can pretty much, you have a lot of freedom in Lua. You can pretty much go anywhere you want. Alright, so thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.